Life of the late Senator William Cheptumo. That aware that the late Senator William Cheptumo, the Senator for Baringo County, passed away on Sunday, February the 16th, 2025, at the age of 57 while undergoing treatment. Cognizant that the late William Cheptumo served as a member of Baringo North constituency in the National Assembly for 3 terms from 2008 to 2022, during which time he also served as an Assistant Minister of Justice, National Cohesion and Constitutional Affairs from 2008 to 2013, Chairperson on the Committee of Delegated Legislation, members of the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs, the House Business Committee, and Committee on Pensions 2013 to 2017, and the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs from 2017 to 2022. Further cognizant that the late William Cheptumo was elected Senator for Baringo County in 2022 and continued with his stellar legislative work in the Senate, having sponsored many businesses, amongst them a motion on the declaration of cattle rustling and banditry as a national disaster and establishment of a special fund for victims, which was adopted by the Senate on 30th of May 2024, and served as the chairperson of the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations, and as a member of the Standing Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights, and that of the Land, Environment and Natural Resources, which positions he served until his demise on 16th of February 2025. Now, therefore, the Senate expresses its deep sadness at the death of Honorable William Cheptumo, the Senator for Baringo County and the Chairperson of the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations, records its appreciation for his contribution to public service spanning over 2 decades, recognizes the high esteem in which he was held by his colleagues from across the political divide, and the humble, principled and dedicated manner in which he undertook his duties, and offers its profound sympathy and condolences to his family, friends, Baringo County, and the nation at large. Mr. Speaker, this is an extremely difficult exercise. If you had asked me that a few, perhaps weeks or days ago, that part of the business that we'll be considering on a solemn afternoon like this will be to pass a message of condolences on any of our 67 colleagues, Mr. Speaker, it will be the last thing off the top of my mind. But such is life, Mr. Speaker, that we don't have control, control, Mr. Speaker, of what happens, and unfortunately, we have lost our distinguished colleague, the Senator William Cheptumo. It's really unfortunate, it's tragic, it's a big loss, Mr. Speaker, but as the Bible tells us, few are the days of every human being, and before any human life begins, it is so written, the day that it shall begin, up to the day where life comes to an end. Our colleague has left us, Mr. Speaker, and we want to do this great honor that Senate has established a very solemn tradition of ensuring that in the unfortunate occurrence of loss of a colleague, that we grant an opportunity to all of us to commiserate with his family, his constituents, his friends, do a recording of all the things that we say about him, and have it sent to the family. Mr. Speaker, perhaps that is why many colleagues were wondering earlier, why, because we had another colleague from the National Assembly that we lost, why we had to do a separate motion, is because Senate, in its wisdom, established this distinct tradition. And if you go through the archives of all the colleagues that we have lost, you'll find what their colleagues at that particular time said about them. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I want to urge colleague senators to take time to say what they know, how they feel about Senator Cheptumo's loss, and the things that they will remember him for. When we visited with the family yesterday, the daughter, that young girl called Chepto, asked of us, Mr. Speaker, that we say what we know about their father as a politician, and the many things that they want to know about how we worked with him. Mr. Speaker, I believe that as colleagues, we feel this loss at a very deep level. I do not know if you will find, unlike many of us, Mr. Speaker, you will find a colleague who will tell you that we crossed paths with Cheptumo disagreed and perhaps exchanged word wrongly. You will never find, Mr. Speaker. This was a very peaceful character, humble, had experience and age on his side, wisdom to the maximum, and interacted with colleagues across the aisle with maximum decorum, Mr. Speaker. There's a lot for us, especially the younger legislators, to learn from him. For citizens to elect you for 1, 2, 3, and 4 times, Mr. Speaker, it confirms that there is something in your character that they appreciate. The people of Baringo saw greatness in this man. And we that have served with him in this house, Mr. Speaker, can attest and confirm that indeed this was a great human being. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, as we speak today, we are referring to him as the late, which is life and its many turns, Mr. Speaker. But we want to confirm to the family that the many great memories that we share with this distinguished leader shall remain with us. I celebrate Senator Cheptumo for his humility, Mr. Speaker, an extremely humble man, that despite my relatively young age compared to him, there is no day, Mr. Speaker, that we disagreed and he either pulled the age card, Mr. Speaker, on me, or tried to shut down when he held a contrary view. Always, Mr. Speaker, humble to a fault, reminded me when he disagreed on any particular position or issue, he will walk into the office, slow, the way William Cheptumo is known to walk, and say, leader, I think you should reconsider your position on this because of A, B, C, D. It's something worth emulating, Mr. Speaker. I'm sure those that served under him in the National Security and Defense and Foreign Relations Committee can say a thing or two about him, Mr. Speaker. I mentioned yesterday when we went to his family, Mr. Speaker, that this gentleman, Senator William Cheptumo, was also very funny, though silent, that he appreciated humor that came with the work of politics that we do. That there is a particular clip of a young man in Baringo County when he was seeking to serve as a senator, going for his 4th term, who was recorded on video, ridiculing him and trying to say that, how can we promote someone to go to Form 4, meaning to get a 4th term, while there is no water, and listed so many other things. When he eventually made it here, I used to refer to him as Form 4, and he'd laugh about it, despite the fact that the circumstances under which he got that particular title. A good lesson to us, that as we serve in public service, not everybody will agree with us. Many people will criticize us, but Senator Cheptumo never took offense in that particular issue. There are many things that I'd wish to say, Mr. Speaker, but I know we still get the occasion with his family, with his friends, when we move on Saturday, the 1st of March, to lay him to rest in Baringo. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, in the interest of time, I want to grant opportunity to the rest of my colleagues to also have a chance to say something about Senator William Cheptumo. I thank you. May his soul rest in peace. We continue to pray with his family. Commiserations also to the people of Baringo who have lost a great leader, and I believe that God will find way of granting them comfort. With those many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to move and request the minority leader, Senator Wambua, Deputy Minority Leader, Senator Wambua of Kitui, to second. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, Senator Wambua Enoch.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to second the motion celebrating the life of the late Senator William Cheptumo. The Speaker, as the majority leader said, it is not easy to stand on the floor today and speak about Senator Cheptumo in past tense. It is not easy, Mr. Speaker, but we pray that God will continue to strengthen his family and strengthen us, his colleagues, as we prepare for the final send-off. The Speaker, I stand here to give a very personal account and testimony of my interaction with Senator Cheptumo. The Speaker, it will be remembered that sometimes last year, my county suffered several attacks from bandits, especially Camowadas, and we had serious problems. We lost a lot of lives. I spoke to Senator Cheptumo, who was then chairing the Security Committee of the Senate, and I was shocked by the speed at which he acted on the matter. First, when I mentioned to him and showed him images of what was happening, Senator Cheptumo and I walked across the road to the office of the CS for Interior to register his disappointment that Kenyans could be killed in the manner that the people of Kitui are being killed by bandits. Immediately after that, Mr. Speaker, can you, Mr. Speaker, I have a request to make. Mr. Speaker, I have a request to make. Mr. Speaker, we are mourning a colleague. I would just wish that we just do this quietly and silently in honor of our colleague, if that is possible, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, we went to the office of the CS for Interior, and when we came back to the Senate, right away, Senator Cheptumo organized a trip to Kitui County, specifically to Mother Ward, where we had that problem. The Speaker, I remember you were a part of that delegation, and I think Senator Mbogwa also was a part of that delegation. We went to Mother. We had a meeting with the security team, but again, Senator Cheptumo was not satisfied with the meeting that we had with the security team and insisted that we must go and speak to the people in the market, in the Mother market, to listen to the views of the people who are affected by the bandit attack. And I remember a few colleagues were asking him whether we could take a break to have lunch, and he said, we are not going to have lunch until we speak to every person that has been affected by this thing. Now, Speaker, that was Senator Cheptumo, a man that put duty first, a man who never believed in political divisions or differences when it came to national duty. Mr. Speaker, today we are mourning a great man, a great Kenyan, a great leader. So, Mr. Speaker, on my behalf and on behalf of the people of Kitui County, and specifically the people of Mother Ward, I want to pass our condolences to the family, friends, and relatives of Senator William Cheptumo. The Speaker, as he condoled the family, I also shared another important aspect in life with Senator Cheptumo. I am an elder of the African Inland Church in Wilson Airport, AIC Wilson Airport. Senator Cheptumo was an elder at the African Inland Church in Langata. Both belong to the same district church council. And so as a church, the African Inland Church, we have also lost a very dependable, reliable church elder. A speaker to the African Inland Church through the presiding bishop, Reverend Abraham Olwa, and the Nairobi area bishop, Reverend Joshua Kemoyo, we also offer our condolences to the church. The Speaker, with those many remarks, I pray to God that he shall continue to strengthen and comfort the family of our departed colleague, and that his soul shall rest in God's eternal peace. The Speaker, I second.
Honorable Senators, I propose the question that aware that the late Senator William Cheptumo, the Senator for Baringo County, passed away on February 16, 2025 at the age of 57 while undergoing treatment. Cognizant that the late William Cheptumo served as a member of Baringo North Constituency in the National Assembly for 3 terms from 2008 to 2022, during which time he also served as an Assistant Minister of Justice, National Cohesion and Constitutional Affairs 2008 to 2013, Chairperson of the Committee on Delegated Legislation, member of the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs, the House Business Committee and the Committee on Pensions 2013 to 2017, and the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs 2017 to 2022. Further, cognizant that the late William Cheptumo was elected Senator for Baringo County in 2022 and continued with his stellar legislative work in the Senate, having sponsored many business, among them a motion on declaration of cattle rustling and banditry as a national disaster and establishment of a special fund for victims, which was adopted by the Senate on 30th May 2024, and served as the chairperson of the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations, and as a member of the Standing Committee of Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights, and that of Land, Environment and Natural Resources, which positions he served until his demise on 16th February 2025. Now, therefore, the Senate expresses its deep sadness at the death of Honorable William Cheptumo, the Senator for Baringo County and Chairperson of the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations, records its appreciation for his contribution to public service, spanning over 2 decades, recognizes the high esteem in which he was held by colleagues from across the political divide, and the humble, principled, and dedicated manner in which he undertook his duties, and offers its profound sympathy and condolences to his family, friends, Baringo County, and the nation at large. Honorable Senators, Honorable Senators, the system is not working, so with the raise of hands, I will call upon the Senators. Just one moment, please, Senators. You know, I cannot write that fast. I already have some Senators who are going to start immediately, and because I know there's a lot of interest, and almost everybody would want to speak, can we agree at a time limit for how long we can speak? Okay. Let us go with 5 minutes. I'm sure some members will have a lot to say about our late colleague. So we'll cap it at 5 minutes, and please let's try and be as brief and concise as possible. So I will start with Senator Sifuna.
I thank you, Honorable Speaker. As you know that this is my first term of Parliament, so I have only had 2 years, about 2.5 years to interact with the late Senator Cheptumo. And indeed, as the Majority Leader confirmed, yesterday when we went to the residence and we met his wife, Anne, his daughter Chepto, and his son, Andrew, both very brilliant young children. Honorable Speaker, there was a request by the young Chepto that we share anecdotes about our experience with their father in this particular house. I remember when I received this news, I put out a tweet saying that I remember Senator Cheptumo as one of the cooler heads in the Senate. And his son asked me what I meant by that. And I explained to him that sometimes, and especially in the early days of this house, in the Swahili slang we say, mambo ilichemuka. And I do remember that there were very heated exchanges here because we had various fights. But Honorable Cheptumo was always the cool head. And the majority leader can attest as well that he had the capacity to be able to reach across the aisle and speak to us, those of us who were not elected on his political party. So, Honorable Speaker, my experience with him is that he was a consummate gentleman, that he was a gentle soul and a very cool head, somebody who was something of a father figure here, and I think it is because of his length of experience in these houses of parliament. Honorable Speaker, I want to take this opportunity on behalf of the Orange Democratic Movement Party, of which I'm the Secretary General, and as you know, in 2008, Honorable Cheptumo was elected on an ODM ticket, Honorable Speaker. On behalf of the party leadership, including my party leader, the Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, the people of Nairobi and my family, to say pole to the family of the late Cheptumo and to assure them of our greatest consideration during this difficult time of mourning. Honorable Speaker, my last experience is that I thought during that time when things were heated in this house, there was tendency of people to rise on very frivolous points of order, especially against me. I'm not crying victim, but I do succinctly remember that some of the most genuine points of order when I was on the floor of this house, especially on constitutional matters, used to come from Senator Cheptumo. And he respected the rules of this house, and he only rose on points of order that actually were genuine. So I want to take this opportunity to say pole, and may God rest his soul in eternal peace. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Wafula.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa nafasi hii ambayo mmenipa kutoa rambirambi na pole kwa familia ya Mheshimiwa Cheptumo. Mheshimiwa Spika, ningependa kusema hivi. Mheshimiwa Cheptumo, nenda salama. Mheshimiwa Cheptumo, mauti yamekuvika njuga. Nenda salama shujaa. Unakokwenda hatujui, lakini Mungu anajua. Mheshimiwa Cheptumo, umepigana vita hapa katika Senate kupambana dhidi ya magaidi, waporaji wa mifugo ya watu wako kule nyumbani. Mheshimiwa Cheptumo, umetunga sheria na katiba mpya ambayo tunashughulikia sasa. Mheshimiwa Cheptumo, umekuwa baba, umekuwa uti wa mgongo wa familia. Shujaa Cheptumo, nenda salama. Tutakutana baadaye. Mheshimiwa Cheptumo, palipokuwa na bugdha na joto la kisiasa hapa Senate, Mheshimiwa Cheptumo ulituliza boli. Ulitupa mawaidha, ukatukana kwamba hasira za mkizi furaha ya mvuvi. Mheshimiwa Cheptumo, sasa umetuacha wapweke. Umetuacha na simanzi. Umetuacha tukibubujikwa na machozi wakati huu mgumu wa kisiasa. Mheshimiwa Cheptumo, nenda salama. Wasalimu waliotangulia hapa Senate, waambie tutafuata nyayo zao siku moja, lakini kwa sasa tutafuata yale uliotangulia. Safiri salama Cheptumo, tutakutana baadaye. Katika usanjari huo, Mheshimiwa Spika, ningependa pia kutoa rambirambi kwa familia ya Malulu Injendi. Kwa familia hiyo sasa, Mheshimiwa Spika, wamepoteza watu watatu. Ndugu mkubwa wa Malulu Injendi, Malulu mwenyewe, na dadake muda mchache uliopita amekata roho katika hospitali kule Kakamega. Mheshimiwa Malulu, uliweza kusoma chuo kikuu nilichosoma. Uliweza kuwa mwenyekiti wa halmashauri na bodi za shule kama mimi mwalimu. Mheshimiwa Malulu, wapigania watu wako ujenzi wa miundombinu, shule, barabara. Ulikuwa mkatoliki wa imani. Mheshimiwa Malulu, tulitunga sheria za ufugaji na upanzi wa miwa na usagaji wa sukari. tukitaraji kwamba wakulima wako wa Malava watanufaika. Tulikuwa kwako na Mheshimiwa Rais, tukapeana chuo ama shule anuwai ya Chanderema, na wewe ulikuwa unajua kwamba watoto wetu wakinufaika katika masomo, siku zao za usoni zitakuwa salama. Mheshimiwa Malulu, tembea salama. Luere mwana wa mama, tutakutana Mungu akipenda. Asante sana na Mungu awalinde. Thank you.
Senator Oburu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to express my heartfelt condolences to the family of the late William Cheptumo. Mr. Speaker, sir, William Cheptumo was not just a member and a colleague in Parliament, he was a personal friend. And Mr. Speaker, we have been with him in this Parliament for a long, long time. He found me in Parliament. He has served more than 4 terms. If you combine Yala, I'm now serving my 7th term. Mr. Speaker, he has been a very, very steadfast legislator. Cheptumo has been not only a steadfast legislator, but also a very, very, very consistent friend to many. He has developed relationships which were very deep. I can say that deep waters, still waters, run deep. Cheptumo was still waters which ran deep, because he knew the length and depth of all the legislative agenda which was in this Parliament. But he also developed very deep relationships with the members, where he became leader, where he was chairman. He was always very, very humble and very, very influential. He was influential, Mr. Speaker, because he could listen. Cheptumo used to listen, and he was a very good listener. If you want to be a good leader, you should be a good listener. You should not be lecturing on every issue and pretending to be a know-it-all, that you know everything in every subject. And Cheptumo proved this, and he came from an area which was very, very volatile, because that is an area where there is some conflict between communities. But he always stood above those conflicts. He always went and tried his best to solve the conflicts in a peaceful manner, and he worked for peace for his people. Mr. Speaker, he was also a very good family man, and he brought his family in a religious manner, and they are very, very humble. Mr. Speaker, this is because this man was a good leader, and he has shown this country leadership, and we hope that the Almighty God will place his great soul in eternal peace. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Senator Mundingi.
Asanti Bwana Spika kwa kunipa nafasi niweze kuchangia kwa seneta mwenzetu ambaye aliaga dunia. Yangu ni rambirambi yangu, mimi seneta wa Embu County na watu wa Embu County, tukisema ni pole sana kwa watu wa Baringo kwa sababu ya kuachwa na ule ambaye mlichagua. Asanti Bwana Spika, kulingana na historia ambaye tumeifuatilia siku ya leo, Mheshimiwa Senator William Cheptumo amechaguliwa kwa mihula 4, na ni pole sana kwa watu wa Baringo kwa sababu kuchagua mtu kwa mihula 4 sio kitu ya rahisi. Ni kumaanisha alikuwa anafanya kazi na wizara zote, akina mama, wazee, watoto na makanisa yote. Kwa hiyo ningeomba Bwana Spika, watu wa Baringo muweze kuvumilia yale yametendeka, kwa sababu tunajua katika ulimwenguni Bwana Spika hakuna mtu ataishi, sisi tutaenda. Kwa hiyo ningeomba watu wa Baringo muombe vizuri kwa juu ya familia ya Mr. Cheptumo kwa sababu ya ameondoka. Ya pili Bwana Spika, ni kuomba watu wa Baringo wakati ule uchaguzi itafika mtaweza kuchagua Sunjaa kama Senator Cheptumo, kwa sababu hata nakumbuka mwaka wa 2020, mwaka wa 2000 ile wakati tulichaguliwa alikuwa anang'ang'ana na kinara wa siasa Bwana Spika ambaye ni kijana ambaye ni ya rais mstaafu na alikuwa pesa nyingi. Lakini nyinyi watu wa Baringo hamkuweza kuangalia zile pesa, hamkuangalia familia, hamkuangalia nini, mliangalia usunjaa wa mtu ambaye ule angeweza kufanya kazi. Bwana Spika, mimi niko na huzuni sana chukua watu wa Embu County, kwa sababu nakumbuka wakati Cheptumo alikuwa mgonjwa, kamati ya security mara mingi imekuwa ikiahirisha kutembea katika Embu County, Tharaka Nithi na Meru juu ya kitu yaitwa Murasi tukomugoka. Ningeomba ule atachaguliwa kwa hii kamati ya security aweze kufanya kazi kama ile Cheptumo angeweza kufanya security na kuangalia mambo kama hii, kwa sababu sisi tulikuwa tunamngoja kila wakati. Kamati ikitengenezwa siku ile itakuja, Cheptumo amekuwa mgonjwa, inaahirishwa. Kwa hiyo ningeomba sisi wote tuko na huzuni, lakini kwa sababu kifo hakuna kusimamisha. Ingekuwa ni area ya hospitali sisi tungesanga, watu wengine wangechanga, lakini sasa kifo hakuna mtu anaweza kusimamisha. Kwa hiyo Bwana Spika, sisi mimi Senator wa Embu County na watu wa Embu County ni pole sana kwa watu wa Baringo. Hapo tu Bwana Spika, ningesema pole kwa MP ambaye ni wa Marapa ambaye ni Njendi. Katika senator wote MP wale katika parliament najua ni senator ambaye ni mtu ako na usunjaa ya ukanisa, na hapo ndio tulikuja tukajuana naye. Kwa hiyo nasema watu wa Marapa ni pole sana hata nyinyi, kwa sababu kipo Mungu aweze kuwapeleka pahali pazuri, lakini ningeomba watu wa Marapa na watu wa Baringo muweze wakati uchaguzi itakuja mchague senator mzuri na MP mzuri. Kwa hivyo Bwana Spika, mimi na watu wa Embu County tunasema ni pole, na pia tunasema Mungu aweze kuwarasa pahali pazuri ambapo wakati wa kuvuka, wakati wa Yesu Kristo akikuja, tutaweza kuvuka pamoja na wale. Asante Bwana Spika. Asante. Mimi Daktari Mundigi, Senator wa Embu County.
Senator Fatuma Dulo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me take this opportunity to join my colleagues in saying pole to our brother, late Senator Cheptumo, on my behalf and the people for Isiolo. I say pole. It's not easy, Mr. Speaker. I interacted with Senator Cheptumo 2015 when we were asked, both National Assembly and the Senate, to chair the controversial National Security Act Amendment Bill. That was 2015, and that is when I actually met Senator Cheptumo, when he was a member of parliament then. Mr. Speaker, I have interacted with so many colleagues in this house, but none like Senator Cheptumo. Mr. Speaker, Senator Cheptumo was a person who is very humble, down to earth, very peaceful, very consultative, and you will not find him anytime annoyed. Mr. Speaker, I worked with Senator Cheptumo in the Security Committee where he was the chair. And he had a lot of respect for everyone, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when he fell ill, Mr. Speaker, Senator Cheptumo is not somebody who will tell you I'm sick. He will always say, niko sawa tu, naendelea vizuri. Many a times we really wanted to visit him at home, even when he was in the hospital and when he was at home. He will say he's okay. We tried even booking an appointment to go and see him at home. He says no. He's somebody who is really doesn't want to disturb people, Mr. Speaker. He was committed to issues of insecurity in his county, issues of insecurity in many parts of this country, issues of cattle rustling, issues of minority. And I remember one time in the Committee of National Security and Foreign Relations, he said we should even establish a welfare committee within the committee. That is how much Senator Cheptumo was concerned about welfare of each and every one. Mr. Speaker, you can imagine sometimes we have an early meeting, but Senator Cheptumo will tell you, Senator Dulo, can you chair a meeting for me today? Because it's hard for me to wake up early before 9 o'clock. That, concern that he will not make it and he will request somebody else to sit in for him. He will struggle to come to the house. He will struggle to come to the house because he doesn't want to offend anybody. Mr. Speaker, I know it's not easy, especially for the family, being the father of a family. And in life, Mr. Speaker, the worst loss is the loss of a father and the loss of a husband. And I believe that is what the family is going through. Baringo, yes, they have lost a leader. And of course, by the time, even before he is buried, people will be running who will succeed him. That is how life is. But for the family, nobody will replace Senator Cheptumo for them, for the rest of their life, and also the family members. We pray for the family. It's not easy, and I hope they will overcome it. It's part of life. And everybody is going to test the death in our lives. Mr. Speaker, I say pole to the family, and we need to hold together as colleagues. We have lost many colleagues in this house, and every time Senate stood with each other. And I hope Majority Leader will be able to announce the date of the fundraiser for the family. We should be able to be there, all of us, to contribute to it. And we pray that God will rest his soul in peace. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Joe Newton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also come to eulogize and pass my message of condolence to the family, friends of Senator Cheptumo and the people of Baringo in general. Mr. Speaker, we thank God for the 57 years that he gave to Senator Cheptumo. We know that many are born and they never attain even the age of months. Some of them die in the maternity wards, Mr. Speaker. And so I think we need to thank God for the 57 years that he gave to Senator Cheptumo. Mr. Speaker, Senator Cheptumo achieved a lot in just 57 years. Elected 4 times, 3 times in the National Assembly and 1 time in the Senate. Not many people are able to achieve that kind of feat. And so even as we mourn Senator Cheptumo, again, we need to thank God for the many achievements that he gave to Senator Cheptumo within a very short time of his life. Mr. Speaker, I served with Senator Cheptumo in the liaison committee, which is the liaison of chairs. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, Senator Cheptumo will not serve in that committee again because he's no longer with us. Mr. Speaker, I will also not serve in that committee because I'm not chair again. But Mr. Speaker, Senator Cheptumo, the silent gentleman, the man who only spoke when he was sure he had something important or relevant to say, a man who did not speak for the sake of it, Mr. Speaker, this is a man that was special. This is somebody that was able to be very knowledgeable. Somebody who was, Mr. Speaker, never sycophantic. Mr. Senator Cheptumo only supported that which needed support, and not just for the sake of pleasing people somewhere else. Anyway, Mr. Speaker, as it has been said here by Senator Dulo, he will be replaced in Baringo at the right time. That is what happens. But the family will never have a father, a husband. Replacements happen, but families suffer. Families will never ever go over this loss, Mr. Speaker. And so I take this time to say, rest in peace, Senator Cheptumo. Go with God. May you find a humble and a good abode in God's hands. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Kajwang.
Mr. Speaker, I joined the House in conveying my condolences to the family of the late Senator Cheptumo. I've had the privilege of being in Parliament with Senator Cheptumo from the 11th Parliament, where I found him, the 12th Parliament, the 13th Parliament, and we have now served in the Senate Liaison Committee. I wish to extend my condolences to the family, especially the children who have been left behind, the spouse, and the direct family members. The people of Baringo have also lost a wise leader. Senator Cheptumo was very influential in this House. He was influential in a very quiet manner. He was not a heckler. He was not a noisemaker. He was not a person who sowed division. Mr. Speaker, you will attest that whenever Senator Cheptumo rose, even on a point of order, it was very substantive. And he went to the standing order and he was able to cite the specific matter that had been offended. He was not frivolous. He was very welcoming. Mr. Speaker, Senator Cheptumo was a peacemaker. In the Senate Liaison Committee, many a times we proposed very radical measures. You do recall at some point, Mr. Speaker, because of limited financing for committees, the Senate Liaison Committee deliberated and took a position that we are going to suspend the activities of committees. Mr. Speaker, even though that industrial action lasted only one night, but Senator Cheptumo was very useful in the conversations, giving us tips, giving us stories on how they've handled similar matters in the past. May the Lord rest his soul in eternal peace. This House has had its own fair share of tragedy. Mr. Speaker, even as we mourn Senator Cheptumo, we know that the distinguished Speaker of this Senate is mourning his father. We just recently buried the father of Senator Kinyua from Laikipia. Mr. Speaker, this House, we have lost the late Senator Mutula, the late Senator Kajwang, the late Senator Kabaka, the late Senator Ben Oluoch Okello, the late Senator Gigi Karaoke. These are things that happen. We should not act as if there could be some targeting of the Senate. This is part of life. This is a cycle of life. We pray that the family will be strengthened. We pray that the people of Baringo will also find some comfort, and when the right time comes, they will make a decision to ensure that they continue to be represented. But we want to assure the people of Baringo that even if Senator Cheptumo is not with us today, that their interests will still be catered for by the remaining senators. One area that will be contentious will be the formula for sharing of revenue amongst counties. We want to assure the people of Baringo that even if Senator Cheptumo is not here, and even if they have not made a decision on their next senator, those of us who are remaining will ensure that Baringo does not lose even a single cent in any formula or in any arrangement when it comes to division and allocation of revenue. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I also convey my condolences to the family of the late Malulu Injendi, another member of Parliament with whom I've been here from the 11th, 12th, and 13th Parliament. May the Lord strengthen the people of Kakamega, the people of Baringo, and more so, the family of our good friend, our departed friend, Senator Cheptumo. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Kinyua.
Asante sana Bwana Spika kunipa fursa hii. Kwanza kabisa Bwana Spika, kwa uchungu na huzuni nataka kuleta risala zangu za rambirambi kwa familia ya mwenda zake William Cheptumo. Bwana Spika, nikubalie kabla sijaleta risala zangu za rambirambi, nataka kuchukua fursa hii kuambia seneti hii shukrani sana, pamoja na wafanyikazi wote wa bunge na bunge la kitaifa Bwana Spika, kwa sababu juzi nilimpoteza baba yangu na seneti hii ilisimama na mimi pamoja na wafanyikazi wa bunge. Kwa hivyo sitaki kuchukulia jambo hilo kwa mzaha, nataka kuwashukuru kutoka pangu rohoni na niwaambie asanti na asanti sana. Bwana Spika, uchungu nilionao wa mimi kumpoteza mzazi, ninaelewa vile vile uchungu wa watoto na bimjane wanaopitia wa seneta wetu Cheptumo. Bwana Spika, Cheptumo ninamjua sana kwa sababu tulikuwa kiti hiki hapa katika bunge, amekuwa jirani yangu kwa miaka hiyo miwili tukiwa hapa. Na sio jirani yangu hapa Bwana Spika, amekuwa tena ni jirani yangu pale katika gatuzi zetu Laikipia na Baringo, tunapakana. Kwa hivyo mimi na yeye tumekuwa sisi ni kama ndugu wa kufa kuzikana Bwana Spika. Na Bwana Spika, jambo ambalo tulikuwa tukiongea na yeye sana ni kuhusu usalama Laikipia na Baringo, hasa mambo ya hawa wezi wa mifugo. Na akaniambia kwamba kile ambacho atafanya akiwa kama mwenyekiti ni kujitolea kwa hali na mali, ndio mambo ya usalama uweze kupatikana Laikipia Bwana Spika. Na nataka kumshukuru Bwana Spika kwa sababu yeye aliongoza kamati yake mpaka Laikipia tukapata askari wa ziada. Kwa hivyo nina kila sababu ya kumshukuru na ninamkumbuka vile kila wakati tukiketi pale alikuwa akiuliza mambo yanaendelea namna gani Laikipia. Bwana Spika, leo nikiwa nimeketi pale naona kile kiti hayuko, mimi napatwa na huzuni Bwana Spika, kwa sababu kila wakati tulikuwa tukiongea na yeye. Na si hiyo tu Bwana Spika, wakati kuna mijadala hapa, kwa sababu yeye ni wakili aliyebombea Bwana Spika, alikuwa ananipatia mawaidha, ananiambia vile ambavyo yeye anafikiria Bwana Spika. Kwa hivyo nina hofu na nina huzuni Bwana Spika kwa kumpoteza rafiki na kumpoteza ndugu Bwana Spika. Sikudhania itafika wakati huu nikuwe nikiongea hapa kumuomboleza rafiki yangu na ndugu yangu Cheptumo Bwana Spika. Lakini yote 10 Bwana Spika, ni mpaka tukubali mambo ya Mwenyezi Mungu. Na kile ambacho kinanifurahisha Bwana Spika, hata ijapokuwa alikuwa na miaka 57 peke yake Bwana Spika, yale aliyotenda ni mengi. Amekuwa ni waziri, amekuwa mwenyekiti wa kamati tofauti, hasa kamati ya usalama. Bwana Spika, mimi nikakumbuka ya kwamba si miaka mingi ambayo utaishi duniani Bwana Spika, ni vile ambavyo utakavifanya ukiwa duniani. Bwana Spika, nikisoma katika kitabu kitakatifu cha Mungu, Biblia yangu inaniambia naye Methusela akaishi zaidi ya miaka 900, lakini hakuna kitu alifanya isipokuwa kuishi duniani. Naye Yesu akaishi miaka 33 na inaonyesha mambo aliyofanya Bwana Spika. Kwa hivyo ni vile ambavyo utakavyofanya itakavyokumbukwa. Bwana Spika, sitaki kumsahau Malulu Ijendi, mbunge wa Malaba Bwana Spika, kwa sababu na yeye amechangia hasa kuhusu huu mswada wa wazee wa mitaani Bwana Spika. Na ikumbuke vizuri kwa sababu hawa wazee wanasaidia sana katika uongozi Bwana Spika. Na ni vizuri vile Injendi alikuwa na ule mswada wa kuwakumbuka Bwana Spika, ndio tuweze angalau kuwapa kinua mgongo waweze kuendelea na kazi ambayo wanapewa kufanya na wananchi Bwana Spika. Kwa hivyo Bwana Spika, na vile vile namkumbuka mimi na yeye tukiwa Katoliki tunafuatilia mambo ya dini na yeye, kwa sababu alikuwa akionyesha kabisa kila wakati nilimuona ameweka rozari yake ameivaa, kusema yeye ni Mkatoliki na haogopi, hana fedheha, na akasimama hivyo. Na mimi najua kwamba hata wakati ameenda binguni, wale walio binguni watamkiri, kwa sababu na yeye alipokuwa duniani alikiri imani. Nashukuru Bwana Spika na nasema asante.
Senator Osotsi.
Mr. Speaker, I want to join my colleagues in also sending condolences to the family of one of our own here, Senator Cheptumo, William Cheptumo, who passed on this week, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I served with Senator Cheptumo in the National Assembly and he was such a dedicated, experienced, knowledgeable member of the National Assembly, and he steered several committees, the 2 committees of delegated legislation and the JLAC. And those were one of the most busiest committees in the National Assembly then. I know when you were serving with him in the National Assembly, he came up with legislation which were not very favorable to the Senate. But Mr. Speaker, when he came in here to the Senate, he accepted and apologized to the Senate that he was among the senators who were not very kind to the Senate. So he has gone to the Maker, a man who believed in God and a man who did the best in terms of promotion of humanity. Mr. Speaker, we know Senator Cheptumo also was a very, very popular leader with his people. You know, in Baringo, the last election, he managed to beat seasoned politicians, including the KANU chairman, Honorable Moi, Gideon Moi. And he was elected to this house first through the ODM party. Those who don't know, Cheptumo joined this house, the National Assembly, in 2007 election as an ODM member for, is it Baringo North. And then later on, he transitioned to 2013, 2017, and now he was elected in 2022 as a senator for Baringo. So we have lost a great leader, a leader who understood the law, a seasoned lawyer, and I just want to express my sincere sadness and condolences to the people of Baringo for losing such an important icon in the society, a man who fought for the problem of cattle rustling in the northern part of the country by bringing even motions to this house to deal with matter. And I wish to request the house that now that we passed that motion on cattle rustling, we need to follow up and ensure that the recommendations that we passed in this house are implemented by the government. I wish to thank the members who have expressed their love for our colleague, that we also need to stand with the family at this critical time. And we also need to think about how well we should honor our departed colleagues. The majority leader has given some insights into that, and I think it's something that the Secretariat can look at it so that we honor our colleague in a very dignified way. Mr. Speaker, I want to wish him well, even as we plan to lay him in due course, and just wish that the Almighty God rest his soul in eternal peace.
Senator Kisang.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also wish to join my colleagues in conveying condolences to the family and the great people of Baringo County for the passing on of our colleague, Honorable Senator William Cheptumo. Cheptumo, he met in the university. He was in Parklands when I was in KU. Honorable Speaker, we cleared A-level at the same time. And I came closely and worked very closely with him from 2007. We both stood in ODM party, but he was lucky to be elected, but I lost. 2007, you know, that was the party then for the great people of Rift Valley. And I'm seeing we are also getting married again. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, around 2013 again, he stood, he was elected for the second time, and I came to Parliament. We met in the 11th Parliament. We worked very closely. He was the chair for delegated legislation, where I was a member, and he steered the committee. We passed so many regulations. If there was any issue with the regulations, he would guide the committee that these ones we are not going to pass. We will basically reject, and as a straightforward man, that is Cheptumo, Honorable Speaker. Within the same time, from 2013 to 2017, 10 of us in National Assembly from across the country, Honorable Speaker, we formed a caucus to visit our constituencies and fundraise. We gave each member to choose either 2 functions or 1 function, where each member will either raise, if it is 2 functions, 50,000 each, or if it is 1 function, 100,000, Honorable Speaker. And we moved Baringo twice. They came to Marakwet West. We went to Tesa North, across. And Cheptumo was basically our team leader. We have lost a great man, Honorable Speaker. 2017, 2022, we also came back in the 12th Parliament, and he became the chair of CHAILAC, Honorable Speaker, and there are very many laws that he was able to pass, especially the constitutional laws and the IBC laws, Honorable Speaker, and he stood. And we met, we were members of liaison committee then, because I was the chair of ICT, Honorable Speaker. We want to tell the people of Baringo, Pole sana for the laws of your senator. May the Almighty Lord give you peace, strength, comfort. And Honorable Speaker, again, we met in Senate, and recently, before he became healed, Honorable Speaker, we had to go to Elgeyo-Marakwet County because there is a petition that came to this house from County Assembly of Elgeyo-Marakwet County to declare banditry as terrorism. And we were there with Cheptumo. We spoke with our MCs. We also met the governor. And I'm happy that motion was passed. And as Senator Osota said, we need to follow the implementation so that anybody who will engage in basically banditry in the country, they should be treated like a terrorist, Honorable Speaker, because we cannot afford our people to lose lives and to lose livestock because of just this small thing called banditry, which is very backward, Honorable Speaker. I just wanted to tell members we were there yesterday with the family, and on Tuesday, the 25th, is when we have the main Arambe at AIC Milimani. So colleagues, let's all be there to support the family. Thank you very much, and may the Almighty Lord rest his soul in eternal peace.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Seki, have you moved to the minority side? Very well, Senator Seki. And be brief, please.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me also take my this opportunity time to thank you, Honorable Speaker, and to give and convey my heartfelt condolences to the family of Honorable William Cheptumo, who happens to be a good friend of mine. We happened that we were together in one committee of national security. And I want to say that this is a very sad moment to this Senate and to the entire nation, and the people of Baringo, whom Senator Cheptumo represents. Honorable Speaker, I happen to be a very close friend to Honorable William Cheptumo, particularly on the wealth and kind of experience that he has in regards to issues of legislations, issues of parliament, and the shared experiences that we shared with him when he was a chair of national security. I want to convey that this gentleman was a very great man, a very humble person, a very knowledgeable person, a person who understands quite a lot of things, particularly when it comes to issues of parliament, procedures and all that. And when he's chairing the committee, He's very passionate, he's very, strong to his points. At times he puts people off, particularly those stakeholders that we invite to committee. And at times, I remember William will engage the National Security Council, the National Police Service Commission, the IG, the CS for Interior, for us to get to understand more and more about the committee and the procedures of government. I remember Mheshimiwa Cheptumo being a colleague who is not jealous, a person who is very passionate, a person who is willing to, to teach and even guide people, correct us, particularly those who are also very new in Parliament. So I want to convey my condolences to the family and to the people of Baringo that this is a great man, and they were not wrong for him to have been elected as a member of the Senate to represent the people of Baringo. Honorable Speaker, I want to I even remember one of the last moments that we had with Honorable Cheptumo when we were chairing a committee on national security on a petition regarding the police who have been injured while they were in service. I remember that particular incident where he almost convenes a meeting of all the insurance companies, NHIF, that is now SHA, and many, many other institutions, which he was trying to bring in the point where he want to understand why NHIF, SHA, has not compensated those people who have been injured, the police that have been injured while they're in service. So, Honorable Speaker, I want to say that this is a great man. We believe that God will help the family, give them protection, and strengthen the family at this very sad moment. And going forward, we will continue to be with them and pray for them. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Wamatinga.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. I also like to join my colleagues in eulogizing our departed colleague. When we came to the House, Mr. Speaker, sir, as first-timers, the so-called ranking members did not spare any moment to make us feel little and knowledgeable. And at times, Mr. Speaker, they treated us with a certain degree of contempt. Mr. Speaker, sir, Senator Cheptumo was one of the few who had held our hands, worked with us, and even told us which standing order to invoke when you want to rise up. He would even go to the extent of telling you the constitution that you should quote. This, Mr. Speaker, sir, was to me most welcoming, and he made us, the newcomers, feel at home. Mr. Speaker, sir, the likes of Senator Shelagay, the likes who've been here, when they stood here, Mr. Speaker, they made us feel disoriented, and at times they used words that we could not understand, and we wondered whether we'll one day stand and debate in this House. But Senator Cheptumo was one of the few who tell us, just take your time. It will be shaky at the beginning, but with time, you'll master the art of debate. With time, you'll master the art of convincing, and at times even the art of winning a debate. Mr. Speaker, sir, I stand here to mourn a colleague who, when this House was faced with one of the most hard decisions, we consulted, and I do recall, Mr. Speaker, he pushed, and near before that moment came, that we have a meeting so that we, as the senior elders in the House, we could give directions to what at that time was threatening to tear the country apart. This, Mr. Speaker, sir, will forever remain entrenched in my heart a person who looked beyond tribal politics, a man who looked beyond regional politics, a person who thought about the youth, and most importantly, about the integrity and the unity of a country. This is the man that we are eulogizing today. This Senator William Cheptumo, somebody who kept our hope burning even when we thought, as the majority side, that the minority was having their way in way of making a lot of noise. He could use the word tulieni itaisha. That, Mr. Speaker, to me, was the humility. I do remember yesterday, Mr. Speaker, when we went to visit the family, that the kids told us to say something we know about their father. In that, Mr. Speaker, I could tell the pain of them losing their father. Age 57, Mr. Speaker, in African standard, even in the biblical standard, is too young. We know the Bible says we have 70 years to live. But again, Mr. Speaker, this is an occurrence that reminds us we are temporary in this world, our days are numbered, and therefore when we are serving our people, we should do it with a lot of humility and knowing that nobody is guaranteed that you'll have to go through the whole term of 5 years. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, sir, as I pass my condolences to the family and to my colleagues and to the people of Baringo, I would also want to take the opportunity to mourn with the people of Kakamega who also lost their member of parliament. And indeed, Mr. Speaker, such a moment reminds us that our days are numbered in this world, and therefore we should always, through prayers and supplication, remember that our Creator knows the day that we'll depart. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to end it there by telling the family, it is well, in the hands of the God, we leave you, we'll continue praying for you. Rest well, Senator William Cheptumo. Thank you.
Professor Ugenda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we are assembled in the House this afternoon to commiserate with the family of the late William Cheptumo, who was not only a friend, but a classmate, a colleague in the profession, and an outstanding senator serving his 4th term in the House. Mr. Speaker, Senator Cheptumo's demise came at a time when we were deeply involved in the elections of the AUC, in the African Union chairperson of the Commission in Addis Ababa. We learned painfully that our colleague had departed, and as we came back to Kenya, we joined his family in mourning and in celebrating his life. Mr. Speaker, Senator Cheptumo's demise should be a lesson to this country, a lesson that we need to pull together in the direction of peace, a lesson as this House has shown this afternoon, that we must pull together both the minority side and the majority side on the side that unites this country, Mr. Speaker, sir. In spite, Mr. Speaker, of the loss of the election at the AUC by my party leader, the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, it is instructive that what we learn from the passing of our colleague is that this country needs all of us. Irrespective of the fact that Senator Cheptumo sat on the majority side, the minority side are now joined at the hip in mourning the departure of the senator. In the same vein, Mr. Speaker, sir, even though the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga may not have won the elections at the African Union, we as a country must use this opportunity to pull together because we have a country to run. We must ensure that we join together in working with the leadership of His Excellency President William Ruto to ensure that this country grows to prosperity. And that is the lesson that this brings to us this afternoon. A lesson of peace, a lesson of togetherness, a lesson that we are tied together at the hip as Kenyans, and that we must work for the success of this country. We mourn Senator Cheptumo, a good friend, a colleague, and my classmate. May God rest his soul in eternal peace. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Cherargei.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. From the onset, I want to take this opportunity on behalf of my family, the great people of Nandi County, to pass our deepest condolences for the demise of our beloved colleague, Senator William Cheptumo, famously known in Baringo County by the nickname Lebaluk, or the Egnima in Baringo politics. Mr. Speaker, I commiserate with the wife, with the people of Baringo for losing their beloved senator, who also happened to have been the chairperson of National Security, Foreign Relations and Defense Committee. Mr. Speaker, I've known Senator Cheptumo when we served together in the last session, when I was Senator of Nandi and he was a member of Parliament of Baringo North constituency in Baringo County. Coincidentally, Mr. Speaker, sir, Senator Cheptumo served as the counterpart of the Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights Committee in the National Assembly. Myself, Mr. Speaker, I served then, before the infamous de-whipping, as the chairperson of Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights in this House, Mr. Speaker. Although I am his junior in profession, Mr. Speaker, sir, both politically and in terms of practice, in the legal practice of this country, Mr. Speaker, sir, Senator Cheptumo did not look down upon me. He used to encourage me, and he used to say, itakuwa sawa. Mr. Speaker, after, even when we began, when he was able to be elected as the Senator of Baringo, when, you know, some of us are rambunctious, Mr. Speaker, and we shoot straight from the hip, after an episode, an interlude of weekend, high-octane politics, where I always play number 9, Mr. Speaker, he would tell me, you did well, ulimaliza mtu. Mr. Speaker, and he could laugh about it and we could enjoy about it, Mr. Speaker. So Senator Cheptumo, having served as the chair delegated, he was assistant minister, he was the chair of national security, he was the chair of justice. Mr. Speaker, for 4 elections, Senator Cheptumo has never lost a single election. I think for some of us, we need to study in his school of politics, because how can you survive not to be defeated in 4 straight elections? And we know the Kenyan elections are normally closed, Mr. Speaker. So Senator Cheptumo did best, Mr. Speaker. The family and the children, we are with you in thoughts, Mr. Speaker. And he did a lot, especially in national security, where we're having issues like abduction, issues of extrajudicial killings and forced disappearances, issues of police welfare and national security welfare. He was very passionate. Even, Mr. Speaker, the current Inspector General of Police, Mr. Kanja, was being vetted and approved by the Joint Committee where Senator Cheptumo was the co-chair, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, secondly, I want to thank him because he was instrumental in the passage of my bill of the prevention of livestock and produce theft, where it is now in the National Assembly. Mr. Speaker, I want to tell the people of Baringo and appeal to them. In honor and legacy of Senator William Cheptumo Lebeluk, as is known in the politics of Baringo, please maintain peace in Baringo and the entire North Rift in honor of our fallen colleague, because he was a champion against insecurity in that region, Mr. Speaker. In our local language, Mr. Speaker, I want to tell the people of Baringo and the family, Mutia Mising, Ngogona Kimnatet Jehovah, I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Poleni sana.
Senator Hamida.
Asante Bwana Spika, na mimi pia ninasimama hapa kuunga mkono wenzangu kwa kutoa rambirambi ya kumpoteza shujaa mwenzetu mbunge wa Baringo North Senator William Cheptumo. Kwa niaba ya KEWOSA pia natoa rambirambi, na sote kama wamama wa KEWOSA tunasema pole kwa jamaa na marafiki wa Senator Cheptumo. Kusema kweli sikufanya kazi karibu na yeye Senator Cheptumo, Bwana Spika, lakini nilimjua na tulifanya kazi kwa muda kidogo upande wa komiti ya Shakahola. Lakini hapo ndio niliweza kumjua vizuri na nikaelewa kazi yake vile anaendesha. Alikuwa ni mtu wa kutaka kujua uaminifu na kutaka kazi yake iwe safi, ili kusibakie na kichochote ama na doa la kuuliza kwa nini hii kazi hamkuimaliza vizuri. Senator Cheptumo, Bwana Spika, kusema kweli amekufa kishujaa. Alikuwa akija hapa seneti, na ukimuona ni kuwa hata ukimsogelea unamuuliza na kuona kama hausikii vizuri, anakuambia hapana, mimi niko sawa kabisa. Na hata siku moja na nimekuja kuangalia na wenzangu ya kuwa hakuweza kukaa na kujihurumia mwenyewe na kuambia watu wengine kuwa hayuko sawa. Kila mara atakwambia yeye yuko sawa na wala hana ugonjwa wowote. Kwa hivyo tutasema, kusema kweli, hiyo ni kufa kishujaa. Kufa yani na ugonjwa wako, na hakutaka watu ili waweze kumuonea huruma. Na kwa Kiislamu sisi tunasema inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi rajiun. Kwa yeye Mungu ama Allah tunatoka, na yeye tu hapo ndio tutarudi. Kwa hivyo Mungu, kile sisi tunapenda yeye anakipenda zaidi. Kwa hivyo kaka yetu ametangulia na sisi tuko nyuma yake. Rambirambi nyingine nitatoa kwa mbunge mwenzetu Bwana Injendi, na yeye kweli sikumjua vizuri, manake hii ni tamu yangu ya kwanza, na yeye pia kwake, kwa familia na kwa constituency yake tunatoa pole, na ni rambirambi kwa kutoka KEWOSA. Pia Mungu ailaze hizi roho mbili, azilaze mahali pema peponi, na wale wengine pia walotangulia tunawaombea pia Mungu waweke mahali pema peponi. Asante.
Senator Esi.
Asante sana Bwana Spika kwa nafasi hii. Nami ningependa kuchukua nafasi hii kutoa pole zangu nikimwomboleza marehemu Senator Cheptumo wa bunge la eneo la kaunti ya Baringo. Na wakati mwingine nikiangalia maisha haya huwa ninashangaa, kwa sababu Bwana Spika, kama siku ya leo mimi ninasherehekea siku ya kuzaliwa, na wakati huo pia ninaomboleza kumpoteza Senator Cheptumo. Lakini nikirejelea maneno ya mwandishi wa vitabu William Shakespeare, ambaye alisema kuwa ulimwengu ni ukumbi wa michezo na kila mtu ana nafasi yake. Ningependa kusema kuwa Senator Cheptumo alikuwa na nafasi yake ya kuhudumia wakazi wa Baringo kwa miaka hiyo ambayo tumeitaja hapa, na kazi ya Mwenyezi Mungu haina makosa. Pengine ilikuwa ni mpango ya Mwenyezi Mungu kuwa mpumzishe wakati huu, lakini sisi kama viongozi ambao wanakuwa tunajifunza unyenyekevu ambao Senator Cheptumo aliokuwa nao. Senator Cheptumo tulikuwa tunakaa naye pale nyuma, kwa lugha ya Kimombo backbenchers, na kipindi fulani aliniita kuniuliza, hivyo Kenyuri wewe umepangaje maisha yako? Na nikiangalia ninaona ni kama ni baba ambaye alikuwa ananiona mimi kama msichana mdogo, na pengine angependa kutoa wosia wake jinsi nitakavyojipanga katika mambo haya ya siasa na uongozi. Kwa hayo nitamkosa sana, na ninaomba kuwa Mwenyezi Mungu ailaze roho yake mema pahali pema, na kwa wakazi wa Baringo natoa pole zetu kabisa, na nikisema kwa lugha ya Kikalenjin mutio missing. Asante sana Bwana Speaker.
Senator Beatrice. Senator Beatrice.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to also pass my condolence to Senator Cheptumo's family and the Baringo County members and Kenyans at large, and to the Senate, where he was an outstanding member. Honorable Speaker, just last evening, we went to condole with the family of our brother, Senator Cheptumo, and I want to tell the family that we feel for you. But from the observations we had as we sat with the family, led by the loving wife of Senator Cheptumo, Madam Hannah Cheptumo, and the lovely children, we were encouraged as members of the Senate because we saw a very compact family led by Hannah Cheptumo. We could see their strength amidst the challenges they have had. We know our brother has been unwell for some time. Honorable Speaker, I mourn Senator Cheptumo as a colleague in the Senate. We also shared a committee of lands, environment, and natural resources, where Senator Cheptumo, because of his background, because of being a ranking member of parliament, and because of his background in law, he was a source of direction in the committee, and actually, Honorable Speaker, we will miss him. I happen to have met Senator Cheptumo with a loving wife one time at Nairobi Hostel when they went for their routine checkup. And I can tell you that the family is promising. The wife he leaves behind is a caring woman, and I want to encourage her and the family that there's a time for everything. There's a time for life and a time when you lose it, and it is actually biblical. Senator Cheptumo was a calm legislator, as has been demonstrated by all the colleagues that have been here, and we mourn with him, with his family, and may our brother rest in peace. Honorable Speaker, I also want to mourn with the people of Malava constituency, where we have also lost Mheshimiwa Honorable Malulu Ijendi, who was equally a gentleman, a calm man, a man who did not want to lose his identity and his religion. A number of us do not have the courage to say who they are or to demonstrate even where they worship. But Honorable Ijendi was an outright person who demonstrated where his religion is. Honorable Speaker, I also equally had an encounter with Honorable Malulu Ijendi when, as a member of the ICT Committee of the Senate, I was given an opportunity to attend a World Forum in Vegas. There was a joint committee from the Senate and the National Assembly, and Mheshimiwa Ijendi was amongst the delegates from the National Assembly. He came out as a very caring legislator who ensured that all members of the delegation were together in most of the activities that we encountered. I was also very proud of him that Honorable Ijendi worked on a bill on how to compensate the village elders. We were looking forward to that compensation. And Honorable Speaker, before I end my speech, I wanted to also congratulate the resilience of one honorable former Prime Minister, one Baba Raila Amolo Odinga, that this is a man who has demonstrated statesmanship. That when Baba Raila Amolo Odinga was leaving for Addis, he stated out to everybody publicly that if he gets it, better, the better for us. But even if he does not get it, still, he said it was fine. And we want to say that Baba has done his best for this country. And I want to say that Raila Amolo Odinga did not lose. It is Kenya that lost that election. I want to remind Kenyans, Honorable Speaker, that there's one icon, Nelson Mandela, who said that do not judge me by my success, but judge me by how many times I fall and I'm able to rise again. I want to assure the country that Baba Raila Amolo will rise again. And we want to tell Kenyans and everybody who cares to listen that Baba got over 7 million votes in 2022. That is a man that Kenyans cannot assume. This morning I saw the Standard say, taming Raila. We want to tell them that nobody in this republic can tame Raila Amolo Odinga. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Abbas Sheikh.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also want to join my colleagues to condole the families, my people of Baringo, for the demise of our colleague, William Cheptumo. Honorable Speaker, I have known William for the last 15 years. I joined him in the 11th Parliament. We were together, we're good friends. And we were actually in a sitting arrangement in the Senate. He was my neighbor, and as a soft-spoken person, but was full of humor and wisdom. William Cheptumo is a man who many people believe that he's not somebody who speaks well. I mean, he doesn't speak to people. But he's a man, when you sit with him and make story with him, he was full of humor. He was somebody with a lot of wisdom. Honorable Speaker, as much as he was soft-spoken, he is somebody who was firm in his decisions. He stood firm on all decisions that he was making, especially in terms of making decisions in time of voting and all this. Honorable Speaker, I want to also condole his family and the Baringo people, and I wish to tell them that to have heart. And for those people in Baringo, since they have been electing William for almost 4 times or 5 times, I think, I want them to reward. He's a man who loved peace. He's a man who foresaw that caste translation should be ended immediately. And therefore, to reward him, I will ask the people from Baringo, the people of Baringo, who have been electing all these years, to see the dreams of William Cheptumo is achieved by exercising peace and living in peace with all and harmony, as the entire county is full of always cattle hustling. But we must reward our colleague and send him off with peace. Besides that, I want also, on the same breath, I want to also join my colleagues also to condole the family of Honorable Molulu JD. I also met in JD in the same parliament, the 11th parliament. We have been very close friends at the same committees. And I think he's a man, I know him whenever I see him, he used to wear a very big chain with a big cross. That shows that he's a man who loves God, who was near God. And I believe, and for the time I learned him, he's a man who was so focused. He's a man who wanted to at least do great things for his Malava people. And I wish them also, let them all the best, and the family to take heart, and the people of Malava to also remember and reward the deceased and the family of Honorable late Molulu. Those few remarks, I beg to support the motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Senator Mofaya.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. I want my colleagues in eulogizing my very good friend. I used to call him Chairman, Senator Cheptumo. Honorable Speaker, I had the opportunity to engage with Senator Cheptumo for the last 2.5 years I've been around. And Honorable Speaker, I want to make some confessions in this house that Senator Cheptumo has been a very, very, very man and a gentleman, somebody very connected. I remember even during the heights of political confrontations, the very first time that when we came here, Senator Cheptumo never took sides. He was very calm. He would calmly say things are going to be okay. And he manifested some very serious levels of maturity. Honorable Speaker, all through any other time when you met Cheptumo, you would just see some serious elements of leadership in him. And no wonder he into the trust of the Baringo people who gave him an opportunity to serve in Baringo constituency for close to 3 terms, I think 3 terms, and then he got the 4th term. That was not a small region, Honorable Speaker. And I want to urge our colleagues to make sure that, because one day, one time, we shall also be out of this world, please try to make sure that you do some good things so that when you go, your colleagues will be able to say some kind ones about us. So, Honorable Speaker, now that I had the opportunity to engage with Honorable Chumo,